This week's episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by On. The legend leveled up. With more support, more comfort and more cushioning for more fun on every run, meet the new Cloudrunner 2. From toe to heel, each element of the Cloudrunner 2 is designed to support your foot during movement. A plush tongue means total comfort and easy step in, while a durable heel clip helps to lock in extra stability and support. Visit on.com or your specialty running retail store to grab your pair today.
Being a skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names if it's all the same.
Welcome to episode number 329 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thanks for being with us for another week. We've got a huge show coming up tonight. Big co-host, guest co-host is going to be joining us. We've also got a drop-in from one of the biggest names in Australian distance running at the moment. A lot of news to go through, a few predictions for Osaka Marathon, which is happening this week as well. Listen to question, might go on the loose, and some whispers as well. Welcome to my co-host, he's up in Canberra, Bradley Croker, the best analyst in the sport. How you going?
Good, Brady. Just got Lily out just as I started recording. Say, Dad. I'm like, Lily, shh.
I did see you do the old, the face motion there to be quiet. How you going, Croaks?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Not a lot of running in the last week due to a bit of a sore hip, but had some good news down in Melbourne with the heart testing. So, I guess good and bad news, but no complaints.
Okay, we'll get into that because you didn't give us much information in the group chat throughout the week. I was looking at your Strava numbers, but the information you were telling me about your heart was good. So I'm looking forward to unpacking that in a second. Let me tell you about our co-host tonight, Croaks. People call her the Taylor Swift of the Australian running scene, the headline act and the biggest name amongst the Australian population in our sport. She's a gold medalist and 2 times bronze medalist at the Commonwealth Games. She also finished 9th at the 2017 World Championships Marathon. In 2016, she won the People's Choice Award at the Advertiser and Channel 7 Sports Star of the Year Awards. And in October 2022 was awarded the Australian Sports Medal. And also in 2022 was awarded the Australian Institute of Sport Female Athlete of the Year. Welcome back to the Inside Running Podcast. Jess Stenson, how are you?
Thank you. Not sure about the Taylor Swift call, but no, I'm going well, thank you. Looking forward to chatting with you both.
Have you been caught up in Taylor Swift hysteria at the moment? It's massive, isn't it?
My social media's been full of it, and my training partner Caitlin Adams went along. She said it was the best night of her life.
It looks amazing. I'm not even a big fan of her music, but I'm just like, just looks like a huge event.
Yeah, the atmosphere looked unreal.
How are you, Jess? Joining us from South Australia. Thanks for giving up some time for the show again.
Yeah, going well, thank you. Enjoying training and just that process of building fitness and strength after giving birth, 5 months ago. So it's really nice just to be back out with the squad. I did miss that, so being able to join them for the long runs again on Sunday and sessions during the week.
Yeah, well, when we see your Strava, it just gets like you just sprinkle in an upload here or there. Like we don't know kind of much about how you're going, but occasionally, I think it's the long runs too. It's a bit of a Sinead Diver move, just like doing the one flex upload and like, okay, we know Jess is fit because she's running 30k plus, but yeah, give us a bit of a summary of where your fitness is at.
Yeah, so when I spoke to you last, I think it was in November, because I remember saying that in December I might start adding in some tempo runs, and we went to the Eyre Peninsula over that summer period and, started adding in some tempo work and was really enjoying the long runs over there. They were tough on the cliff tops. It was sort of windy but really scenic, and came back feeling like I'd developed a good base over there, and I think got hit with some 1K reps first up, and they really hurt trying to run. I think it was 3:27s, even 3:25 really felt like hard work. And I remember that first session when I was trying to get to 3:20 pace, but it's a really nice feeling of each week just feeling more comfortable with the intensity. So, I guess I've just been uploading the long runs because I don't really want the distraction of Strava, but I really like that it does give people a bit of an opportunity to see where you're at, and the long run is a good indicator of your, where you're at with your fitness. So every now and then I upload a long run that I do with my group, and they'll start to become, every second week will be just a straight long run, and then the next week will be some sort of long run with some reps or a pickup or tempo within it.
And where's your mileage at the moment, Jess, compared to sort of full load?
Well, the last week was actually a big one, and I think that was just because I had 2 bigger sessions. I didn't have intensity in my long run this week, so it was a 2.5 hour versus a 2 hour long run, and where I've got the option of elliptical or treadmill run in the afternoon, I was just opting for the treadmill run a bit more over the past week. So it was actually 165 Ks, which is a lot higher than, I think my previous highest was 145, but really it's just steadily been increasing since October, November-ish, and that's about where I got to before the Commonwealth Games, because I'd had a disrupted prep for Perth Marathon back in 2021 now. I sort of got to 140 K with a lot of cross training. So to be honest, in recent years I haven't probably gone over that 165 total.
Are you surprised how well things are going, given, it was quite well documented that you had a few ups and downs after the birth of Billy, but 5 months, you're back up to 160 K. Are you surprised how well it's gone?
I am a little bit, to be honest. I've been nervous because I did it was 13 months after giving birth to Billy. I had an injury, and I've had that in the back of my mind, coming into this as I've been building up my load. But I feel like my body's been absorbing the training better. We've been putting a lot of emphasis on just going to bed early. So we pretty much just have dinner and then, it's early nights most days of the week here, which I think that's really helping my training and my motivation, and Dylan's as well. We quite enjoy the routine, and nutrition has been another big focus, and also just doing, I can't get a big block of time during the day to do, block of strength and conditioning, but I'm doing little exercises just sprinkled throughout the day, and I think that's helping me too. So it has surprised me that I've been able to get to this sort of load feeling motivated and like I'm enjoying it. Even probably before I became a mum, I'd hit these sorts of weeks and I just feel fatigued and really vulnerable. I'm probably most surprised that I actually feel upbeat and quite strong, and I think that's because of the emphasis on sleep and recovery and all of those things, as much as you can with a baby.
Yeah, Jess, last time we had you on, I think it was the week leading into Valencia, and you threw out some predictions and stuff. Obviously, we know what happened there. Some fast times happened, and the goal for you to qualify for the Olympics probably was a bit harder than what everyone was maybe anticipating before that event. You must have looked on with excitement, but at the same time, was it difficult to be like, oh, my task to get to Paris Olympics just got a lot harder?
Yeah, and it's probably going to get even harder this weekend, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or over the next month with Nagoya. You can't control those sorts of things. I've always gone into this particular prep just really excited about the challenge of trying to post a strong marathon after giving birth and hopefully just get back into racing. It's quite difficult to get into big races after you have a baby because you haven't posted a result for so long. So my last marathon was in New York, November of 2022. So as much as I want to run as fast as I can, and ultimately I'd love to make that team, I've got a lot of other goals and markers of personal, success for this race. Certainly, it's exciting to see the quality of distance running in Australia at the moment, and I love that it's just pushing us all to, just be a bit brave in training, try some things that we might not have otherwise. And I like that I'll go into this race and that I'm approaching the prep with that mindset of just pushing, a little bit harder within reason, because you have to now to be competitive.
Does it relax you a bit as well? Because you're like, Ali's kind of the same. We spoke about last week. You've kind of got nothing to lose. Like, it's very much like, this is the time you got to run. Like, you're not going to get crucified if you go out way too hard and blow up, because it's like, this is the goal time and this is what you got to run.
Yeah, it does take a bit of the decision making out of it. That pace that you've got to hit if you want to put yourself in contention for selection. And once the gun goes, I'll be just, I guess, listening to my body, and if that feels unrealistic on the day, that's when I'll know, okay, I've just got to race this race today, and that pace isn't going to be my goal. So there'll be sort of the plan A, B, C. At the end of the day, I think feel is the best way to run a marathon, but we're training as if we're going to try and target that particular pace, and then we'll see what happens on the day. There are so many variables, as you know, in the lead up, and traveling with a baby even more so. Yeah.
So we've been talking about you preparing for a race. Can you give our listeners an exclusive as to which marathon you will be doing?
Yes, I've chosen the Dageu Marathon, which is on April 7th, which is one that I hadn't heard much about until 2022, when I was deciding to do a marathon early that year, and I chose Osaka. And I was on the podcast a bit at the time and was talking about the build to Osaka, and then I had a femoral bone stress injury and had to withdraw from that race. That was the first I'd ever heard of Dageu. And then when it came to making a decision about a race for this year, my sort of needs were to have a race close to home, so that I could travel with Ellie, and I didn't want to have a big time zone change or the big long haul flights, and I didn't want to be away from home for too long. Typically, if I go to Europe, I'll want to get in a week or so beforehand. And then I also wanted to give myself as long as possible within the Olympic qualifying window to prepare. So it had to be something in April, or ideally late April, but April the 7th is still later than the Japanese race options that we had. So that's why we've chosen this one.
Same day as Canberra, Jess. That wasn't on the radar?
Bit hillier there, Croaks.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been closer, that's for sure, and less expensive. But this is a gold label race, which is great, and it's a mixed race. And I've got a friend who ran it before when it was a 3-loop course. It's now just one big loop. This is the first year with the new course, so we'll see how that goes. I kind of like that I don't have too many preconceived ideas about the race. It's a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, that's good. Were you anyone else, running it this year?
No, but well, I saw that you've got some whispers later on.
Okay,
about,
give us one. You got a pacemaker? Mm-hmm. Oh, no, potential.
About
okay.
Someone who might be out, who might be considering it. But I have got, I'm hoping that Tom, my friend who's run it in the past, might be able to come over as a pacer. So that's the plan.
That's good. Croaks, you should go as well. Be a good trip for you.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I can get into that shape.
I reckon. Good enough.
Got a bit of a little squad going over. My brother-in-law's coming over as Ellie's carer, because Dylan's going to stay here and work and keep Billy in his routine. My sister's got the 4 kids she's going to be looking after at home. My brother-in-law's coming over, so come and join us.
Yeah, it'd be great content, Croaks.
It would, but I don't think I could run 2:23 in the space of. Well, look, I got injured doing 3x5k.
You don't have to go the whole way. Just go to 25k, 20k.
Take you through 5k, Jess.
Do it with a GoPro.
Long way to go for
upload 5K. It to YouTube. You can get some hits out of that. Very exciting, Jess. That's going to be good. So what do we got, like 5 weeks? 6?
a
Six,
bit
I
more.
think.
Six.
Or seven.
6 yesterday,
Yeah.
7, yeah. So you're already, at 100 miles already. You must...
I don't plan to progress from there, though. That's
Do you need to, though?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's really, I mean, back in 2018, I think I used to really get a lot of confidence from chasing big weeks of mileage, but now I'd say my confidence comes more from quality and how I'm feeling during the week. I just remember being so sapped of energy and at times quite unmotivated, holding on to, those big weeks of training. I really enjoy the process more when you're just hitting some quality sessions and getting a couple of long runs in, switching out some jogs for elliptical, because I really do feel like the elliptical gives me the opportunity to strengthen other areas, and can really drive through your glutes. And it's extremely boring as well, which I think is good mental training.
That's good. Do you want to take us through your week then? What did the Monday through to Sunday look like last week?
So Monday, I was feeling a bit tired that week because we'd had the Adelaide Invitational, which was just a big weekend in Adelaide. We had a big squad out on Sunday for the run, and I'd had a bit of a pickup in that run. So I went out for 60 minutes. What was that? 13.74, so 4:22. Listened to Road to Osaka that day. That was the one where Reese and Moose were just chatting amongst themselves. I really enjoyed listening to their training chat, and Reese asking the questions about, what should he be running in a half if he wants to hit his goal marathon. And I couldn't believe that he doesn't get DOMs.
Yeah, do you reckon he makes that up? Surely there's a bit of mayonnaise on that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
He's a weird cat.
I reckon genetically he's very different. He's almost similar to Yuki. Like, Yuki was going through a period there where he was racing marathon like pretty much weekly, and he mustn't get DOMs that much
maybe.
either.
Yeah, no, that blew my mind. I'm definitely someone who can't walk down the stairs or, lower to the seat after a marathon. That afternoon, I did an easy 30 minutes on the treadmill at 4:45-ish. That was good, actually. I'm watching something that my coach recommended, Welcome to Wrexham. It's completely different to anything I'd watched.
Love it.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm really getting into the juicy stuff now where they're starting to actually win games. So that's been good. Tuesday, that was a roughie. Ellie's been a good sleeper. I don't know about your kids when they were babies, but around that 4.5 month mark, they can go through a bit of a regression, and Ellie had kind of hit that and woke a lot of times during the night for feeds. So I got up and headed out just feeling a bit rough. My guts just felt a little bit off, but I was happy with the session in the end. I had a 25-minute warm-up jog, 18 Ks of 1K on off. We just did sort of loops of the uni loop here in Adelaide and the Botanic. And I had a couple of, I had Nathan Pope with me and then Adam on the bike. And we were aiming for 3:20s for the ons and 3:40s for the offs. The session ended up averaging 3:29. It was a bit humid towards the end. But, yeah, that was just probably a longer session than I've typically done. I feel like I've traditionally prepared for marathons by doing one kind of 8K-ish session and then a longer tempo run that probably wouldn't be quite at that intensity. And then the 3x5K session in the past was one of my biggest sessions. So this was a bit of a longer session than what I'm used to, but I enjoyed it. And I did an elliptical session that afternoon for 30 minutes. The next day, again, Elliot had a bit of a roughie, but got up early and ran with Jacob Cox. So I tend to run before Dylan goes to work at the moment. So it's nice to sort of head out when it's dark and the sun comes up. And, yeah, I really enjoy these early Wednesday morning runs with Jacob. That was 22.4 Ks, so yeah, just over an hour and a half. I had my first massage in a long time that afternoon. She worked through my hip flexors, and I walked out just feeling taller and, yeah, just up and about. I hate actually having my hip flexors worked on, but it makes you feel so good afterwards. 30 minutes on the elliptical that afternoon. Thursday was 70-minute jog, 16.1 Ks. And Ellie had self-settled that night, had a good night of sleep. So I was feeling, I was pretty happy out there. It was a really nice morning. Got out around this horse paddock loop. Really enjoyed that one, and did 30 minutes of strength and conditioning at the gym later that morning. Billy's off to kindy now, and Ellie had a little trial at the gym creche, so that gave me the opportunity to do that one. And then 40 minutes on the treadmill that afternoon, and that was the Maurie Plant Meet that night, which I loved watching. Friday, 5K warm-up, 4x2.2K, so that's one lap of the uni loop. I'm not sure if you've run much in Adelaide, but we have this loop that's marked every 200 metres, 2.2 Ks. I did that with Lachlan Scott, Nathan Pope and Finn, and we were aiming for just under 320s. We basically, averaged 318 to 19 for each of those reps. 20-minute cool down, 30 minutes easy on the treadmill that afternoon, 6.4 Ks. Saturday was a nice relaxed 10K. I enjoyed listening to Andy Lee actually on a podcast called No Filter that morning. It was a good run. And then on Sunday I had my long run with the group. We did I did 2.5 hours. I did 50 before I met with the squad. We went up Waterfall Gully. It's quite a big uphill run for about 40 minutes and then straight back down it. And that was with Isaac and Clarkey for a lot of that run, 35.78 Ks. So that was a 4:13 average, and that's really because we got going a bit on the downhill. So, yeah, that was the week.
Good week. What was your average pace for the week, do you know? It'd be pretty quick.
How can I see that? Is that
it on
in
your Strava?
Garmin?
I reckon you can do that on Strava, can't you, Crux? I'm just thinking those longer sessions plus your Wednesday, your 22K, that must have been around 4:15, 4:20. Then the long run being pretty quick as well.
Yeah.
Might put you to sort of, Crux.
Because I just did jogging for a couple of months. That was where I settled into my jogs. It was that sort of 4:13 to 4:15. And I knew that as I added in sessions, that would slow down a bit. But it is just sort of where I find my rhythm a bit on some of these jogs. It tells me my
Nothing
time.
wrong with that, Jess.
Don't stress,
I'm
Jess.
like that as well.
Don't stress.
Yeah.
Would have been a nice quick pace, I reckon. That's good. Yeah, you've got to be confident. Like, there's some good quality in there.
Yeah, I'm getting some good feedback from training, but I still feel like there's a lot of unknown. I've got to keep, getting through the training over the next 6 weeks without getting injured, and I know that I'd be, I guess, burning a lot of energy at the moment just with the feeding and the training. So I've just got to keep getting the calories in and the protein in after sessions and hydrating well. I'm just, really trying to focus on those things. In the past, I'd say when I've been training this hard, I've been juggling a lot of work commitments as well. It's actually really nice just, being a mum and running at the moment and not worrying too much about those other work commitments. I found that's freed me up to just be able to chill a bit more.
Yeah. You were on the mic, though. You enjoyed that job at the Adelaide Invitational. Because last year you were in the commentary box, weren't you?
Yeah, so last year it was a really last-minute call-up, and I didn't know how to prepare for it or what to expect, and I was pretty overwhelmed in there, and I tried to say as little as possible. And then this year when they asked, I thought, this is a chance to redeem myself. So I said yes, and I went and did a whole lot of research. Went on the meeting a few days before the meet with the team, and they said, you'll be on the ground doing interviews. So I was like, But it was still helpful to have, learnt a bit about all of the athletes, and it's pretty daunting when you get an earpiece in and they couldn't hear me at all. There are a few technical issues, so they would say, okay, Jess, we want you to interview this person. Give me a thumbs up if you've heard me. I'd give them a thumbs up, and then Bruce or whoever would throw to me, and then for them it was just silent. So they had to see me kind of hand the microphone, phone away for them to know that I'd finished. And at the beginning I was interviewing them with my earpiece showing. They're like, Jess, like, put the earpiece in the other ear. You've got it like dangling down in front of just little rookie errors like that. But it was fun.
We only get a real small space of time as well. Like, you've got a 30-second window to try to be creative with.
Of course, afterwards I was like, I would have loved to have asked this and that, but in the moment you're just panicking and thinking, what can I quickly ask?
Yeah, that's good. Croaks, you want to whistle through your week?
I only ran 3 times, so it won't take long. So Tuesday was my first run. So we're down at the lake. If we had a track available, we would have done like 2 sets of 10 400s with 30 seconds between the reps and like 2.5 minutes rest between the sets. But because we were training in the morning, that wasn't an option. So we just did 10 by 80-second reps with 30 seconds between the reps and 2 minutes 30 between the sets. I really loved this session. This was something that sort of Christian told me about, like a bit of the Norwegian style, where because you're only getting 30 seconds recovery, you can't actually run the reps too fast because you just, you don't recover in 30 seconds. So he always told me it was somewhere between sort of 5K pace and 30-minute sort of pace, probably starting on the more conservative side. So I averaged 306s for the first set, and then felt like I was working pretty hard, but then the second set, after the 2.5 minutes recovery, like I felt really smooth, and my last few reps were probably low 3 minutes and a bit under for the last one. But about probably 3 reps from the end, my hips started to get sore. So I remember I mentioned last week, after that 3x5K session, I felt the side of my hip and it was quite tender. Like, it wasn't sore to run. And so I ran on Saturday, no pain, ran 2 hours on Sunday, no pain, warmed up for this session, nothing. And then, just the last couple of reps, it got sore, and it was sore during the cool down. So I was like, shit. And anyway, yes, that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I flew down to Melbourne in the morning, had testing that afternoon, and then flew home. So it was a day where I didn't have to run because the max test was on the bike. But that all went really well. They looked at my loop recorder data from the last few months, and there was nothing that stood out there. My heart rate trace was very similar to when I had the test in October, which Andre said to me, look, if somebody came in not knowing anything about them and I saw this, like, I wouldn't be that concerned at all. So he gave me the all clear to like run a bit more, like, 120, 130K, even, jump in some 5 and 10K races. He did send me off for a blood test just before I left. My flight got in at 9 o'clock, got home at 9:30, and then my phone rings at 10 p.m. It's the hospital. Like, just calling to let you know that your troponin has come back elevated. And I was like, I've heard this before, because that was the call that I got in Canberra that sent me to the hospital. And back then it was like 150 maybe, and I think the normal level's under 25. And I said, what is it? They're like, it's 450. And I was like, which was about the same as it was when I got tested back in June when I was first diagnosed. But I spoke to Andre the next day, and he said, look, this doesn't change anything at all. They're doing a study on troponin, which is an indicator of heart muscle damage. But he thinks that people that have had some heart issues in the past, their body starts producing antibodies. So it'll show up high in a blood test, but it's the antibodies, not so much the heart damage. So he's not concerned by that at all, which was good. So that was all positive news, other than I'd had a bit of a sore hip. It did settle quite well with anti-inflamm, so decided to take Thursday off. Went out Friday for 30 minutes, 423s, and I really didn't feel anything at all. Like, it was still maybe a bit tender to touch in certain areas, but there was no pain running. Saturday morning, I met a few guys that were doing park run, and then helped out a few guys that were doing a marathon specific session on the bike. So by the time that finished, it was pretty warm. I thought, I'll just take another day off and maybe try and get through some sort of long run. So, Yeah, met. Actually ran with the guys that finished first, second, and third at the park run on the Saturday. Ran with them on the Sunday. My plan was to hopefully get through 90 minutes if it was completely pain-free, but about 50 minutes in, it was like a 1 out of 10. I'm like, there's no point pushing for an hour and a half. So I stopped at an hour, 14K, 4:18s. It's pulled up pretty well. So it was a week of 40K. I'm off to see the physio tomorrow. But I think it's something, I think it's pretty minor in that, I can run for an hour and only just feel it. So I've had almost, haven't done a lot in the last week. So I'm hoping that by the end of this week, I'll sort of be back to normal.
Bad timing though. Get the AOK to start doing some more Ks and then all of a sudden the hip flares up.
Well, my plan was to always have a bit of a down week this week because I'm like, I've strung together a really good block and I was confident that everything was going to go well in Melbourne. So I'm like, I'll have a down week this week and then I'll be able to ramp it up to 120. But yeah, and it's funny how you just, when running's taken away from you or you get a niggle, because I've had pain-free running for quite a while, you sort of take it for granted and then you get this niggle and you miss 3 or 4 days, and 3 or 4 days feels like 4 weeks when you're used to running most days. But I'm definitely smarter than I used to be. I would often run through a fair bit more hoping that it would just improve, whereas now I'm at the point where it's that's not enjoyable, and often a 1 week injury turns into 4 weeks or more. So and because I don't have anything, I'm not like Jess that has a deadline on the 7th of April, it's it doesn't matter if I take 3 weeks off and just start building again. The main thing is just to have a body that's 100% healthy.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Good work. So how many Ks for the week?
40.
40 on the dot. It's still all right.
Yeah, about that.
Still all right. What do you think of Melbourne down the back?
Was that?
Enjoyed Melbourne for the day?
Yeah, I didn't have much to do. I actually hung around the airport a little bit, because I didn't really have any plans. So I actually watched a fair bit of Netflix.
Oh, what are you watching?
Universe.
Oh yeah, you like that?
Smashed a few episodes of that. I finished it now.
It
was good.
What about my boy Travis Femmel? Enjoy him?
Yeah. Ragnar.
You going to ask something, Jess, and I'll cut you off?
Yeah, I was just interested. They've given you the all clear to jump in some 5 and 10K races. Do you think there'll be a point where they give you the all clear to run, half marathons or marathons? Is it just a matter of keeping this consistency and then you might be able to increase things down the track? Or
Yep. So I think actually racing a half marathon is probably safer in a way because the intensity is a little bit lower than a 5 or a 10. But the plan now is to have another review in June, which will include an MRI. So that will be about 12 months since I had the initial MRI that showed the scarring on my heart. And so he's happy for me to tick along at 120 to 130 for the next few months, which would lay a massive base. I can get really fit off 120, 130K a week. And then if everything's still tracking well, MRI shows that nothing's really changed in that time, then he has said that, there's the chance that I can then start to train for a marathon.
And just can the troponin level test.
Yeah, he's not
until that study
no
comes
more
out.
of those.
Yeah, well, he said he would. He said because of the study, they would respin that blood test where they can actually then break it down to what's antibodies and what's actually true troponin and dangerous, I suppose. So he's not concerned, and I'll just go on what he says.
Good. I'll whistle through this week because we've only got about 6 minutes until a guest is going to join us. Monday, 12K, 4:41 pace in the morning, and then I did half an hour on the treadmill in the afternoon. What do you guys like 2 weeks out from the marathon? I find mentally this week is like race week's all about what can you do to get to the start line as fresh as possible. Whereas 2 weeks out, it's you still want to be doing a bit, but you don't want to do too much. It's kind of mentally, I don't really like this week much. What do you like 2 weeks out from a marathon, Jess?
Yeah, I'm similar to you in that regard. You feel really comfortable cutting right back on the week of, and you've got so much to think about with your carb loading and just the logistics. But 2 weeks out is an awkward one. I think it's just about making sure you don't get sick or injured.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And like I had all that this week. I swear I had COVID for a couple of days at school. On Sunday, I was like, I think I've got a femur stress fracture and I don't even know where my femur is. I'm just like, I've cooked this whole marathon prep like in the last 2 weeks. So that's what was going through my head the whole week here. So easy jog on Monday, then easy jogging again on Tuesday with 12K in the morning and then 7K on the treadmill on the Arvo. Wednesday I did a workout. I did 2x5K. I just wanted to try to lock into marathon pace. So I wanted to see if I could hit 16:25 twice for the 5Kers. And I did. I went 16:24, 16:24. See the splits on that Strava there, Croaks? 17, 17, 17, 17, 17.
Yep.
That's perfect. That's what we need. I just need to do that 8 times this Sunday, and we're right.
That's often my go-to in that, I guess a week and a half or so before the race. Just something, a couple of longer reps at marathon pace, but not long enough that it's going to, leave you too fatigued.
And that's where your head's at too. It's just like, that looks like a really easy workout because it's only 2x5K. But if this was just the middle, if this was just like training for a 10K or a half marathon, this is exactly what you'd be doing.
Yeah.
Like 2 by 16 minutes, it's pretty close to, not far off your threshold heart rate. Felt good though. It was cool. It was like 12 degrees and I was like, ooh, this is a bit fresh. This is a bit nippy. So I'm not sure what it's going to feel like on Sunday when it's 5 degrees, but that was nice. 2 minutes jog between was enough. Then 30 minutes on the treadmill in the afternoon. Thursday did 12K, 4:47 pace and didn't double that day, so I'm starting to cut out a few doubles. Friday, 14K at 3:59 pace and then 30 minutes on the treadmill. And then Saturday I did 7 by 2 minutes with 1 minute float between. I was tossing up between this workout and Mona Fartlek, and I went with this one thinking it would be easier, and I also didn't want to be doing like the 4 by 15 seconds at the end of Mona Fartlek. I'm like, that's really like pop a calf kind of like workout at the very end of a marathon block. But then this one, like I don't know about 2 minute reps, they always look way easier on paper than they are in the actual workout. And I suppose this one's 14 minutes of hard running, whereas Mona Fartlek's 10 minutes. This was hard. Like I averaged probably like 2:58, 3 minute pace for the 2 minutes on and around like 3:30 for the floats. But yeah, this I was pretty cooked at the end of this one. So it was a good bang for your buck, 20 minute fartlek to
Did you say though that you had a 14K at 3:59s the day beforehand?
Yeah, which isn't I suppose I had Thursday pretty easy. Maybe I was carrying a bit of fatigue from there, but I think maybe a bit of that. It's like 14K and then probably it was 6K on the treadmill, so a 20K day. You know when you think they're going to feel easier as well? You're just like, 20 minute workout, this would be a piece of cake. And you're probably expecting that you're fresh already, whereas you're probably still a week off being fresh. So, that's
where you really only freshen up a few days before the race with the marathon off. And even though you're doing that easier work, whether it's psychological because you're overthinking everything, but I often feel quite lethargic, in those Monday, Tuesday runs of race week still.
Yeah, I'm 100% the same. So also didn't double that afternoon, and then Sunday 16K at 4:31 pace in the morning, and then 25 minutes on the treadmill in the afternoon. 129K week. That's race week, which is good. That's good to get at this stage. I know not everyone does, so I always, I don't take for granted getting into race week injury free and healthy, and I feel like excited now too. Like it's getting pretty close to getting, just looking up all the things you got to pack and checking in on flights and booking cars in for parking and doing all those little things because it's all going to become real this weekend.
Nervous?
Are you taking a lot of your food over with you, or are you just going to buy it?
I am. That's a good question. I'm going to take a lot of the precision hydration stuff that we got sent a couple of, probably 2 months ago. We reviewed it all last month though. So I'm going to take a whole lot of the chews just to easy to chuck into the backpack and stuff. Also going to take a bag of the carb mix. Just if I'm struggling to get carbs in, that's pretty easy to chuck it in a 500ml drink bottle and kind of get 80, 90 grams pretty easy there. And then just packet stuff like the muesli bars. And I'm not sure, I don't think I'll be packing anything that's going to get taken off me when I walk in there. Just basic stuff. Sorry, Croaks, were you going to say something?
Oh, I just said, are you nervous?
Not really, because I think the plan is very much like a conservative plan, so it should be I'm not going to use the word easy, but like it's going to be very simple for the first 32K, that I've just got to execute a plan that hopefully my fitness is very capable of executing, and then just, hopefully get the job done in that last 10K.
So that's 69:30-ish, is that the plan?
Yeah, probably anywhere between like 69 dead and 69:30-ish, depending on where a pack forms. Like I want to do no work. Like I just want to just sit in and do some stuff from there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's going to be good. Hey, can I tell you guys about who our guest is in a second before I add them in?
Yep.
She's been nicknamed the Future by Bruce McAvaney after this run that she had at the Maurie Plant Meet on when was it? Thursday night.
Thursday.
She's the Australian under 20 and under 18 record holder for the 1500 and 800. She is a member of the OAC. It's called OAC Oceania, isn't it, Croaks?
It is.
Trying to get her on the line at the moment. One of the most exciting juniors that are coming through. Probably not just a junior, but one of the most exciting people we've got in athletics at the moment. I think I've got her on the line now. Claudia Hollingsworth, have I got you there?
Hi there. Yep, I'm here.
Oh, perfect. We were trying to pad a bit there while we're trying to add you to the conversation. We got welcome to the Inside Running podcast. We've got Jess Stenson here as well as a bit of a fill-in guest host, and
Hi, Claudia.
Hi there.
Bradley Croker out of Canberra as well. Thanks for giving up some time on a Monday night.
Oh, no worries. Thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
No stress at all. Hey, you must be stoked with the run on Thursday.
Yeah, I was really happy. Still sort of only really just coming down from all the emotions of it all. Pretty tired, honestly, coming down from all of that. But yeah, really happy.
Yeah, congratulations with the under 20 national record. But what are you thinking? Because I was watching it at home. There was a pretty star-studded field. When we're talking about women's 800 metre running here in Australia. Do you get intimidated and stuff on the start line in a field like that, or is it all just take it and deliver?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we have such depth at the moment in the women's, and all the names that were lining up in that field are definitely crazy good runners, and it's always such great competition when we all run together. Definitely get sort of intimidated and so nervous. I'm never not nervous before a race, no matter what level it's at. But I think having Craig there as my coach, just to put things into perspective, and we kind of just went into the race thinking this is such a great opportunity to run with, the Australia's best at the moment, and really try go for a quick time or just get the race experience with those girls was really the mindset going into it. So on the line, I was definitely nervous but more excited just to see how this race goes, and just to get great experience and to be hopefully pulled through to a quick time.
Does anyone make you more nervous than anyone else?
That's a good question. Not really, honestly. I could be running in a school event and I'd be so nervous. It's just sort of in my nature to be so nervous in any race, but no, I don't think no one gets me more nervous than others. They're all such great abilities and really exciting to race, but no, I couldn't pick one over anyone else.
Yeah, and the messaging from Craig beforehand, is there a specific tactic on how to win the race or what to do, or just pretty much trust you to go out there and execute it?
We definitely have a few sort of chats before the race about how I'm going to execute it. I'd never go out without a plan. That would make me even more nervous going out sort of not knowing what to do. But the chat before was more just get out there and have fun and really use this as a great experience and opportunity to run against the best at the moment and see where I'm at as a sort of 800 season opener and just see where my fitness is at, especially with the speed work, because my training at the moment has just been reflecting a lot of 1500 metre sort of training. So we didn't know where I was at in that sort of speed side of things. But, just sort of sit in and get a feel for the race and take off at about 250 or something if I had the legs, and sort of left it a bit later because didn't want to pass around the bend or anything like that. But surprised myself with feeling good and, executed it sort of how the plan was.
Did you have an idea that Bandiri was going to go out quite hard? Is that something you're aware of because you train together, or your plans are all very independent?
That's a good question too. We do so much, all our training together, but I think when it comes to racing, we're still competitors, but all in a sort of healthy way. But everyone has their own plan. I knew she's been training so well in training at the moment, so I knew she was going to go out really hard. I didn't know the exact sort of plan she was going for, but she's so strong off that first mark. So I think it was in all her best interest to go out really hard, and that's exactly what she did. And she flew for that, first half. It was so great, and good on her, so brave. But everyone in the team definitely has their own thing, and Craig likes to talk to us individually, which I think is still nice to keep that sort of competitive sort of nature in it, but it's all in a friendly way for sure.
Yeah. And Claudia, now that you finished school and you're pretty much like a full-time pro, has training changed much?
Just definitely actually just sort of the timings and how much I can fit in a day. Sort of school always took that energy out of me, I guess. I couldn't train much in the afternoons because I'd either have homework or I just wanted to have a sleep, honestly. So I think just the training load has increased a bit, not too much, but just increased, and definitely the recovery and amount of physio and those important things that I can get done, and the sleep I can sort of get, that sort of side of it has changed, and just more a professional lifestyle of going into training into Richmond with the whole team when training starts, and doing physio when it's meant to, and gymming all together and those sort of things. And I think that's actually really helped me having a balanced routine rather than almost having running on the side of school and trying to just squeeze in, a bike session or just get my run in after school. So I think, it's definitely helped and given me the time to sort of focus on running as a whole.
And what does a standard week look like now, like Monday through to Sunday?
So Monday mornings is normally speed work in the morning, and if we do speed work, I'll do a double in the afternoon. We have physio on Mondays and just try to get as much sort of nutrition and recovery on that day after a long run on a Sunday. And then Tuesday track, bit of a cross train in the afternoon, again gym on that day. Wednesdays I've got physio and pliers in the morning. Normally do just an easy aerobic jog or a cross train, depending on how I'm feeling. Then Thursdays, normally a threshold day or Ks or whatever happens on a Thursday, whatever Craig's sort of thinking. Depends on like the timing of the season we're in and if we're racing. And I'm still really enjoying swimming, so I'll get in the pool on a Thursday, and Friday's just another aerobic run and maybe jump in the pool again in the afternoon, and with physio again on Friday. And then Saturday we'll normally do hills, bit of gym, and Sunday long run. So it's pretty busy. Most days are training in the morning, bit of break at lunchtime, and then training back again at 4 or 5-ish. So busy day, but I'm really, really enjoying it.
And just on that week, just two quick questions. One, like, how long is your long run at the moment? And you talk about speed work on a Monday. Like, obviously that's not an overly taxing session because you've got an interval session on the Tuesday. So what does that speed work look like?
So it's been changing up a bit. I only really just started doing speed work, which I've actually really enjoyed. We normally do a 12K on a Monday, but to change it up to sort of up at Falls Creek, we were doing 40s and 60s and 90s and finishing with a 120. And I found it quite hard to sort of switch to such speed, and definitely found it difficult. But the more we've done it, I'm really, really enjoying it, and just getting up to top speed for those short distances. And I really respect a sprinter's training, because you think, they don't run too far, but it's definitely at that top speed and can pull up a little bit sore the next day. But my body seems to be handling at the moment. So, I mean, today, is it Monday? Yeah, today, for example, we did just some 120s, and that's all. But the benefits seem to be really great at the moment.
And what kind of pace are you jogging at, like when you do your long run and stuff? And easy jogs?
That's a good question. It sort of depends on who I'm running with. So this Sunday was with a few of up with the boys, and sort of get rolling up to sometimes 4:15s, 4:10s average, but normally around 4:20 average for a long run, or 4:25. Yeah.
And how long's that? Is that like 90 minutes or?
Less? Yeah, 18K at the moment.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think when when I first met you, I think it was in Sydney at Nationals a few years ago, I think you were still playing a couple of sports. Was it football you were playing for a while there?
Yeah, I think I would have been doing a few back in Sydney Nationals, because through school we just do lots of touch footy, swimming. I was definitely doing AFL footy. I think I still do it then. I did stop because of injury risk, but I wish I could still keep playing it. I love that team sport side. But definitely playing footy, I think, back then.
Yeah, so it's only been in the last, sort of six 6 to 12 months that you've just been focusing on running, is it?
Yeah, I'd say maybe more a year to 2 years I sort of stopped footy. I loved it. It was definitely a hard decision, but I just wanted to, give my all at running at the moment.
Hey, looking at the way you closed the last 50 metres, I watched the handicap. Was it a K at Stall? You did the same thing, like the last 50 metres of the Maurie Plant 800 and the Stall 1K handicap race. Like, you have this ability to just change gears without making it look like you're changing gears, but you have to kind of look at all the ladies around you and notice how much you're kind of putting them to the sword. Like, what goes through your head with 50 metres to go, and is there a certain cue that you kind of activate for that to happen? Like, it's hard for me to explain what I'm talking about here. Go back and watch the footage, but it happens so effortlessly, and you just seem to destroy people in that last 50 metres.
I don't know. I guess it's a bit of a flick of the switch in the brain. It's like, all right, we're gonna go now, and it's sort of a big decision when you take that. When do you make that move? And I think it's just when you're feeling good and you can make the distance. And I think it's just exciting, especially at Maurie Plant with the crowd cheering, and I could see the finish line, and I was feeling really good, and my legs felt good, and I just thought this is such a great opportunity, like go now kind of thing. And it's definitely a flick in the switch in the brain, and also just a bit of excitement, like there's an opportunity to either get a time or a win. Stall was a bit different. I honestly thought I was out of that race about halfway through. I just didn't have the mindset for it, but it was more my family. I could just hear my dad yelling hard at me, like in an encouraging way, and I was like, suddenly clicked in my brain, like I better go, better do something here. So I think it is a bit of a flick of the switch, but more excitement. And if the race is going well and you feel good, I think it's just, I don't know, you sort of think it's a great opportunity to run fast. But yeah, I'm not sure. I like closing hard and feeling relaxed during the race, and finishing hard is what I enjoy.
Do you reckon your dad had some money on with the bookies at Stall? Yelling so hard?
I don't think so. I think we joked about it a few times, but he would never do that, never put that extra pressure on or anything like that.
Yeah. Hey, how do you deal with the pressure? Like, you finish that race on Thursday night, Bruce McAvaney kind of calls you the future of Australian middle distance running. Like, you're so young, but you've achieved so much so far. Like, how are you dealing with it all?
Yeah, sometimes it gets a bit much. I sort of try block it out and just really ground myself, and Craig's good at that, just to, bring me back to training. And, it's only small steps so far. We only take things, race by race, but sometimes the pressure gets a bit, but I sort of just remind myself that, I'm not trying to add any pressure on myself, and it's really great sort of publicity and excitement, what people are saying, but I just sort of not block it out, because it is, encouraging and exciting, but sort of just remind myself that how young I am, and it's okay that to fail and get back up and try again. And obviously this season I'm going to have to try lots of different things in racing. So with, less experience under my belt, I'm kind of just going in with, not putting too much pressure on myself. But as I said before, I just get crazy nervous before a race. Honestly, no one would want to be around me. I know my family and my mum, if we're driving to the track, they know how silent I get and how much I don't talk, and it's not in a rude way. I just get so nervous. So I think, especially after Maurie Plant, this publicity that's come about, it's so exciting. But I just sort of try just look to training and look to the next race and not think about it too much.
Claudia, which event are you going to compete at Nationals, or are you going to do both? I haven't seen the timetable, so I'm not sure whether it is possible to double.
Yeah, I honestly also have not looked at the timetable. I think it might be a bit tricky to do double, because you'd want to, give your best shot at least one, not do both sort of half. But I'm not too sure yet. I still actually don't know what I'm going to run at Canberra. I need to have that decision with chat with Craig. I'm entered in for the 1500 metre at Canberra at the moment, but we'll see. I wasn't expecting to run, that quick time so early on in the season, so it was, especially my training's been reflecting such 1500 metre work. So that was always the goal, but I still need to have that chat with Craig. We haven't talked much after the race, so we'll have to reconsider the distance. But in all honesty, I'm not sure right now. So you haven't spoken to Craig about the potential of making the Olympics?
Were you 0.5 off, sorry to interrupt, 0.5 off for the 800 over for the time?
Yeah,
159.3, yeah.
Yeah, 0.5 off.
In your first one. So that's got to be achievable.
Yeah, I like to think so. I think it's still such a long season ahead. Like, I know the Australian season, there's only 2 or 3 more races and nationals to go, but we're heading overseas soon, so it's all that opportunity as well, which makes it sound like a pretty long season and quite exciting to have that opportunity to get a quicker time. But yeah, in all honesty, I haven't chosen. And like your question before about talking about the Olympics, Craig raises it sometimes and he's going to help me, and we're going to do all our best to try, but we won't be disheartened if we don't make it. Like you said, I'm still so young, and we'll be so excited to represent Australia at World Juniors if I choose to go do that and get picked for that team. So I mean, it definitely is a goal and a dream, of course, like many people, but I won't be too disheartened if I don't make it.
Good attitude.
Last one from me. Were you a fan? You were saying how you played a lot of different sports a couple of years ago. Like, were you a fan of athletics then and looking up to people who you're now racing? Like, is that weird? Pinch yourself kind of moments?
Yeah, I guess it is a bit weird. I sort of came into running a bit differently to, I feel, most runners did. I never did little athletics, so I was never in the running sort of world. I never looked up to anyone, and I don't mean that in sort of like a bad way, but I just sort of had no idea about this whole athletics world. Played so many other sports before I did running, and then kind of fell into it just through running an all right cross-country race in year 7, and Craig sort of picked me up and said, do you want to come train with me? And it kind of went from there, really. So if I'm being honest, not really looking up to many of the athletes. Obviously, it's exciting watching them all, but I felt like I came into the Opens at sort of a youngish age. I think my first national Open was at 16 or something. So I think I was still young, and I mean, definitely in that race, when I was racing Cat, I was honestly like, oh my goodness, this is crazy and she's so great. But I feel like I was racing them so early on, they were almost competitors before my idols, if that makes sense. But yeah, I guess I came into the sport without idolizing anyone too much.
Yeah, probably a good thing to have all those different sports, isn't it? There's heaps of studies out there to prove that's the way to do it, isn't it, Croaks?
Yeah, not specialising too young. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of quick ones. Just like, what are some of your interests outside of running? So that's one question. And like, because you've just finished school, like, you have plans plans of studying at university, and if so, like, what would you like to study?
Yeah, good question. With the things I do outside of running, honestly, through school, I guess that was such a big distraction. It was nothing else to do but school and running. So now I've got a bit more time on my hands. Mum will say I'm very creative, so I'll always bring something to draw, or like at Falls Creek, I brought this painting to do. So I like doing the creative stuff and just switching my mind to that. Just getting away from the running mindset and just doing something creative to take my mind off things. Whether painting or drawing, I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. And just still seeing and catching up with school friends. It's so great having such a big team with running, but then still keeping in contact with school friends and being social. I think it's really important just to not lose that connection. Now that we've left school, it's sometimes hard to, you don't see them every day because you sort of have to make the time and things like that to do that. So just socializing with friends, I really enjoy. Hang with family. I'm not sure. I don't do too many other hobbies now that all my eggs are in the basket of running. So I'm not too many things. And with university, I'm actually taking a gap year this year. I just thought after coming off so many years of school, and I'm finally finished, I just want to have a year where I can really just focus on the one thing, which is running, and not have something in the background taking away from that. But I've got into occupational therapy at Monash which I'll start next year, which I'm really excited to do.
Very good.
Any more questions, Jess?
No, that's covered them all. It's been really nice to just hear where you're at and keep up the great work. It's so exciting to watch you race.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
What about favourite shoe to jog in? What's your go-to? We've been testing out a few from the on-range, and very thankful for their support of the show.
Yeah, there's honestly too many. I forget all the names of all of them. I'm very much a runner who only sticks to sort of 3 shoes. I'll try them out for the others for fun, but I don't like changing my feet don't like changing too many shoes. So I absolutely love the Monsters. I'll honestly do all my sessions even on the track if I could. The Monsters, the Cloud Flows, I do all my speed work in. I know most of the team use the Echo Booms, but haven't been too much. I like them, but I really prefer the Flows, just not having any, like less of a super shoe, so you're not pulling up too sore all the time. And just the spikes. So just rotate those three. That's honestly the only shoes I wear are the Monsters, the Flows, and my spikes. So
have you tried the second Cloud Monster yet?
Pardon?
Have you tried the second version of it yet? The Cloud Monster?
Oh, yeah. Cloud Monster 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been jogging in them quite a bit. I find they're a bit of a wider shoe, so my laces feel like they're a bit tighter, having to tighten them up a bit more. But definitely really enjoyed them, and we've actually had the opportunity to try the Hyper Monsters, which are really great for doubles and longer runs, which I really enjoy. They sort of put me a bit forward on my shoes to get me rolling on those days where I feel like I can't sort of run when you're a bit tired. So I really enjoy those ones as well.
All something to look out for there. Claudia, thank you so much for your time. We know you're super busy. We really appreciate giving up 25 minutes of the Inside Run podcast.
Oh, no worries. Thanks so much, guys. You guys are doing so great, and I really enjoy listening. So thanks for having me on.
No worries at all.
Thanks, Claudia.
Good luck with the rest of the season.
Bye.
Bye. Geez, sport's in good hands, Jess.
Oh, yeah.
Croaks. Sports. I could never string those kind of sentences together when I'm 18.
No,
I can't have 36,
she
actually.
really well.
Doesn't
and
she?
just so down to earth.
A couple of good questions in there too, Croaks. Did you notice that?
What?
Jess and I got a couple of good questions. I was thinking you weren't going to get one here, and they've stitched you up. I reckon her coach has got into you.
Well, I had
got
one
into
question
her.
down. And I was going to ask her about Craig's training philosophy, but I thought that may not go down so well after what he said.
Not with her coach.
This week's episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by On. Confidence Boosted, the new Cloudrunner 2. The legend leveled up. With more support, more comfort, and more cushioning for more fun on every run. For professional athletes and new runners alike, our Helion Super Foam is a game changer. The upgraded midsole provides softer cushioning and higher energy return, plus CloudTech cushioning to absorb impact, so you can keep racking up the miles with confidence. From toe to heel, each element of the Cloudrunner 2 is designed to support your foot during movement. A plush tongue means total comfort and easy step-in, while a durable heel clip helps to lock in extra stability and support. Visit on.com or your specialty running store to grab your pair today.
All right, let's go back and thank some Patreon supporters then, shall we? Do you want to go first, Bradley?
Yeah, so I got Tyler Cody from Wyndham Vale in Victoria. Now, when I was looking up Tyler's name, I'm like, oh, this name sounds familiar, because when I was running predominantly 1500s, I reckon this guy was running more like 5K, 10K. It's pretty solid back in the day. According to his World Athletics profile, he's got PBs of 8:21 for 3K, 14:21 for 5K, and 29:43 for 10K, all back in 2004. Also ran 70 minutes at Gold Coast Half and a 45-minute City to Surf. Also had a whisper come across the desk, or not a whisper, it's confirmed that he was originally from Canada. He won silver at the Victorian 15K at Bundoora, where Magnus Mikkelsen won gold and ran for Glenn Huntley. So, thanks for your support, Tyler.
Silver in an AV race. That is good.
He was a good runner. Like, I reckon he must have run 29:40 at like Zatopek or something like back in 2004.
Yeah. What year did you say that 15K was?
It doesn't have it here.
Doesn't have it?
Because this came in from Alan. Is it Fail? Failer? Yeah.
Yeah, Al.
Yep. So that was from him.
Reece Edwards'
Al
coach.
Al finished.
Really?
He got bronze.
Just our coach, Reece Edwards.
Advises him only on a Wednesday.
No,
No, I'm not even joking. I think he gives him his Wednesday workout every week, and then Reece does what he wants every other day of the week. Who you got, Jess? See the blue writing there? That's your person.
Demus Whelan. I think he might be from Darwin, has run 17:58 at the 2022 Northern Territory 5,000 metre champs. Best 10K time of 36:53, which came during the 12K Darwin City to Surf. He ran 80 minutes at last year's Melbourne half and a 2:44 at the Gold Coast Marathon. He's a project engineer at Sitzler Pty Ltd, a construction company.
Good on you, Seamus. He was pretty quick too. It'd be hard training up there, Darwin.
Did I? Did I say Seamus?
You did. I was going to correct you.
That's really embarrassing. Are you going to cut that out?
Hey, you're talking to the guy that embarrassed himself every couple of weeks, so I'm just glad I got one.
They're reading the letters as I saw them.
Hey, that's
it's all right, Jess. Just it shows you human.
Human.
That's my Warwick moment.
Yeah, that's what happens when Warwick. That's exactly how that looks, isn't it?
Oh, Grand Prix.
Grand Prix, exactly. Let's just read words how they're written, eh? I'm going to thank you.
I'm with you though, Brady. Like, I don't reckon I would run competitively if I lived somewhere like Darwin. It would just be too hard. So, yeah, kudos to all those people up there in North Queensland that are running a lot.
If you're up there listening, thank you. The only good thing would be when he's come down to Gold Coast to run 2:44 at the marathon. It's like, oh, this is a cold day.
Yeah.
So that would be a benefit there. I'm going to thank a legend of the Athletics Victoria running scene, Anthony Rickards from Northcote, Victoria. Listen to these PBs: 8:58 for 3K, 15:07 for 5, 31:50 for 10, 69:57. That can't be right, Croaks. He would have went quicker than that for half marathon. 2:23 for the marathon at the 2007 Melbourne Marathon. He's still running sub 240s as a 50-plus-year-old. I reckon he's at all the AV races. Last year he ran 2:43 at Sydney and then 2:39 at Melbourne. So that's good going. He wasn't far off Moose, really, when you think about that 2:43 at Sydney.
I wonder where he placed in the 2007 Melbourne Marathon.
Would have been up there. You know him, Jess?
Yeah.
Ant? You would know Ant. Runs for APS.
No.
Oh, you know him if you've seen him, I reckon.
Yeah, okay.
He's the director at the Philip Chun Group, which is Australia's largest multidisciplinary consulting company providing building code, accessibility and essential safety measures to the construction and development industry. So massive thanks to Ant, to Seamus and to Tyler for their support of the Inside Running Podcast. If you like what we do, patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. A real treat today, come on the feed, the monthly with Sinead and Ellie. Didn't even know that was getting recorded, Crooks. Then Moose said,
I heard,
hey boys, I'm doing some bonus content for you.
I heard Ellie ended up in tears as a result of something that Sinead said to her.
Mate, I ended up with watery eyes. I wouldn't say tears, but watery eyes when I listened to it today.
You haven't listened yet?
You'll know.
Tears of laughter or?
No, of like... well, not of bad tears, just of like
sentimental.
Sinead just being sweet.
Yeah, she'd prepared this speech, like a pump-up speech for Ali leading into the race this weekend. And she even said, she's like, Brady, if you're listening to this, you can cut it if it doesn't turn out good, but I've written it down. And she read it out, like probably a 4 or 5 minute speech. And then, left Ali quite emotional at the end, which I think a lot of listeners are going to be quite emotional listening to that. So that went on Patreon today for extra elite supporters. We got all the early releases. You'll get Road to Osaka tomorrow. A lot's happening this week with Osaka obviously happening. So we appreciate the support of our Patreon supporters over there. Let's go some running news, fellas and Jessica. I'm so used to saying fellas on this show that's what happens. The Maurie Plant Meet. I'll start with the 800 metres, which we have just spoken to the winner. Claudia Hollingsworth got the win in 1:59.81, which is an under-20 national record. Abby Caldwell was second, 2 flat 0.54. Catriona Bisset third, 2:01.41. What did you think of this, Croaks, when you were watching it?
I was shocked initially, just from Bendiri's point. Like, just she went so fast from the gun.
In front of the pacemaker. I feel for the pacemaker in that situation because she did her job. She went a second quicker than she was asked to, and it kind of, had no purpose.
Yeah, like she's just got so much speed to burn. It's almost like it feels so easy for her until it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's like she's just cruising along like, oh, yeah, this feels really comfortable. And then it's like 300 to go. It's like, oh, now it's not so comfortable anymore.
Yeah, the low cadence really does make it look effortless.
It does, yeah. But like, I just wonder, like, it'd be interesting to see if next time, because she's got so much raw speed, like I know that towards the back end, it's a bit more strength and she probably can't use it, but it would have been interesting to see if she had just sat and just to see what she had left with 200 to go. But that's what sort of took me by surprise at the start, going, like, how is this going to play out? Because I still think Bendiri will run a phenomenal 800 at some point. But then, Claudia is just so strong. And it's a bit like what we were saying about Peyton last week, she just finds a way. Like, as you said, finds that extra gear when it's really, really close. And yeah, like for her to be able to, I guess, run over the top of Abby, like, you know, you're doing well.
Well, yeah, you watched Abby in Adelaide and you're like, oh, Abby's, just a cut above at the moment where these other ladies are at. And then Claudia's like, hold my beer, I'll be another cut above you. Like, she just...
But to hear her also say, I was feeling really good with 100 to go, whatever. Like, can you imagine feeling good in an 800?
Yeah. I wonder if Craig
to have another gear.
Yeah, because it was like that at stall as well. Like when she decides to go, she makes such a good move. It's like, why didn't you do that with 200 metres to go and absolutely run 157 kind of thing? I wonder if that's their thinking, because she almost finishes with too much running. But
it's exciting because, as you said, it's
exciting.
like she's so young. She's like, hasn't run too many of these races. She's now like full time, doesn't have school. Like, she'll go over to some of these US races where like they'll be paced perfectly. She'll just get dragged along, and she'll run under 159. Probably next up. So
exciting. The men's 800 wasn't on the stream, the coverage, but James Preston won that in 146.02. Luke Boyes was second in 146.4, and Jack Lunn was third in 146.5. Nothing to say there because we didn't watch it. The John Orlandi Mile, though, this is the headline event of the night, wasn't it?
It was for me. This was the race that I was more interested in seeing, just because it's, as I said, it was last week. It was like you got your two seasoned campaigners in Stewie and Jake versus these two like junior runners that are running phenomenally in Cam and Peyton Craig. And I was just interested to see how that played out. Obviously, Peyton didn't have a great night, but the other three were really good.
Such a good race. We said last week, remember when Ellie was like, I'm backing Stewie, and I'm like, would you really be backing him if he's got Jake Whiteman and Cam Myers sitting on his shoulder with 200 metres to go? And that's exactly what panned out. But Stewie held on. He ran 3:52 flat to Jake Whiteman's 3:52.1. Cam Myers 3:52.4, which was an under 20 national record and the second fastest time by a 17-year-old. Behind Jacobs, 3:52.28. Fascinating race. Pacer dropped, and then Stewie was left to do the work, winded up slowly. And that last 100 metres went wide to push Jake wide in the home straight, and then Cam got a sniff up the inside the line, and then Stewie shut the door on that. And then, I watched it, and my initial, like, Stewie obviously tactically brilliant that last 100, but was it Cam Myers who lost the race himself, do you think? Jess, what were you thinking watching in Adelaide? Could he have won that if he executed differently?
Yeah, I didn't know if Stewie had seen what was happening there, and I actually thought he was going to sneak through. But, I guess he was thinking he had to run particularly wide to get around Whiteman as well if he was going to go the other way, and perhaps he didn't feel like he had it in him to win it that way. And it would be really interesting to see what would have happened in that scenario.
I'm with you, Jess. I think it would have been really hard because when they came off the bend, like, Stewie was already starting to drift wide a little bit because he felt like Jake was the threat. So Stewie was already out in probably like right on the edge of lane 1 to lane 2, and then from the camera angle you could see that there was a decent gap up the rail, and that's when Cam looked like he was sort of coming late, and then Stewie obviously realised that maybe Jake's not the threat here, maybe it's Cam, and just sort of shut the door a little bit on him. But I don't think Cam could have done much else because he would have had to go out into pretty much lane 3 to go around those guys.
Yeah, it wasn't like Stewie cut him off though either.
No.
The way we're
like,
talking sounds like he's cut him off.
No,
but
it was all
Stewie did nothing
legal.
wrong.
It was
smart,
great,
if anything.
It was great racing. Yeah.
But
I don't know who clipped who or whatever, but Cam sort of stumbled and that was almost the difference, I reckon, because Cam sort of almost not walked across the line, but he lost so much momentum in that last 15 metres that it was potentially the difference between him getting Jacob's time.
Yeah, it looked like he'd kind of switched it off because he had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Bet he'll learn from that. The kid's only 17, isn't he?
Goes again this Thursday, Cam.
Does he?
Talk about that at the end of the show.
What about this women's 5K? Set up perfectly with the pacer got him through the first K, and then the Ethiopian went to the front. Not sure if they said it on the coverage, but in the notes I got sent, she was an official pacemaker. and then she finished the race. She came third. But Rose Davies, she got the win in 14:57, the fourth fastest Australian of all time, over 5,000 metres. And Isabel Doyle was also under 15 minutes in 14:59. And Nadis Merabatu was third in 15:04. Holly Campbell ran a 50-second PB for fourth, 15:10. This was, set up for these ladies so well. Izzy did everything she could to get rid of Rose because she knew she had to get rid of her before 200 metres to go. And that was a pretty gutsy move from Izzy to do that. I think she went maybe, I did see the splits, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Maybe it was like was it 70 into 68 or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty amazing running. Now we've got 5 ladies under 15 minutes. Jess, what do you think watching this at home?
I loved it. I really enjoyed watching this race, and you could see with 2 laps to go, Izzy was doing what she needed to do. You could see her glancing up at the screen, and look, I thought there were so many strong results within that race. Seeing Holly Campbell, she looked really comfortable up there, and it was a very exciting time again for Australian running to see 2 girls under 15, and they just looked so elated at the finish as well.
It's pretty good, Croaks, for Albert Park in Feb. A cold night. Like, put that effort into an American 5K or somewhere in Europe in a Diamond League. These girls can go quicker than that again.
Well, definitely, and it gives us confidence because obviously it's an Olympic year. The standards are way harder now. It's 14:52 maybe? Is that what the standard is? And so, coming into this season, you're like, all right, well, if Jess wants to run the 5K, then she can. She's already got the time. But you're like, it's going to be real tough for the rest of the Aussies to, probably get that time. But as you said, doing this at Albert Park this time of the year, they're probably going to get that time now.
Well, and straight off Falls Creek, they wouldn't have been on the track in a while, I'd imagine.
Yeah. That's why Stewie's run was impressive as well, I thought. He hasn't probably worn spikes for a month.
Wonder how his calves are feeling.
Yeah. The men's, this was exciting as well. It didn't look exciting with probably, 2K, 1.5K to go, but it got exciting late. Catriona got the win, 13:16. Matt Ramsden tried to mow him down in the last 200 metres, 13:17. Robin Hendricks from Belgium was third, 13:19. Sam McEntee, a bit of a return to form, 13:31 to be the third Australian across the line. Ramsden gave him a scare, Croaks. I thought he was going to get him in that last 100 metres there, but Jack just found another gear.
Yeah, it was impressive by Ramsden because, you normally don't see him come back like that in a 5K. So it shows he's got some pretty good strength. It probably wasn't, coming off the other races we'd had for the night, I'm not going to say it was a letdown, but it's just I know it's this first race of the season for Jack and, you're probably never going to run a super fast 5K at Melbourne, but you just look at the depth that we have at the moment over the women's middle distance and 5K, the men's, 1,500. I feel like the 5K is probably just lacking a little bit of depth. Would you agree, Brady, compared to those other races?
Yeah. It was, I don't know. I guess the depth is what you're asking about. But the finishing times, I was quite surprised again to see a 13, 16 and 17 at Albert Park in the middle of, not the middle of winter, but on a cold night.
Jack said that's his second fastest 5K ever. Yeah. So that's positive for first up. But in terms of I suppose us trying to qualify for, I guess Stewie would make the 5K if he wanted to. I guess you've got Kai Robinson as our
Morgan McDonald. We've got a lot of talent overseas.
So I guess we've got a few of our better 5K runners that are probably overseas at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see what Ramsden does because, he'd obviously love to make the Olympics, but the 1,500 now, I don't know whether he can match the other guys in that sort of 331, 332, 333. So is the 5K his best option now?
Surely. What's he got to find? 13 seconds.
Yeah, so I'd say 5K is probably where he's heading now.
Yeah, work on that strength, getting a faster race. Because
Thoughts, Jess?
Yeah.
Do you think Ramsden's 1,500 days in terms of trying to make Aussie teams are gone given the current crop?
Yeah, that's a stacked event at the moment, and I think he would have come away from that meet feeling really up and about, and I'm sure he's seeing opportunity there. It was a really strong run. And to, not be going backwards at the finish, he was really powering home. So I think we'll see more of him in the 5K.
Because as you said, Brady, it's like running a time at Lakeside is completely different to going over to the US. And it's like same effort is probably worth 10, 15 seconds. Like Jack goes over to the US and gets in one of those races where there's just a massive train, and he probably breaks 13 minutes, or very low 13 minutes. And so Ramsden's pretty much right there with him at the moment.
Yeah, and what Brett kept the pace for the first. Was he there for the first 7 laps? Maybe I think he was meant to go to 8, but did only 7.
Yeah, must have run 2.6k. I think.
Yeah, so they had to do a bit of work themselves. What do you think of the meet as a whole? Nearly a bit of a stuff up to watch it when I turned it on and I was watching hockey for about 20 minutes there. It said the Maurie Plant Meet was showing, but it was a hockey game. I thought, oh no. But then it was a brilliant meet in the end. Crowds looked good. The fields were good. I thought they did a really good job of it in the end, other than those streaming broadcasting problems at the very start.
It is just so pretty too, isn't it? The footage from above with the city in the background, the sun setting, the lake. It's just, it presents Albert Park and Melbourne really well.
Yeah, the drone footage looked good. Like they've slashed out some money to get some of that stuff going. It looked good.
And then and when you got Bruce in the commentary box as well, it's like he adds such an element. Like he's just such a professional.
Did you see that video of him calling the men's mile? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Him jumping around there.
So good.
Do you reckon which meet's better or bigger, that or Zatopek?
I think Maurie Plant now.
It's got the international stuff. Like the international stars come over, don't they?
Yeah, and it's not like Zatopek. I feel still is very much distance based, whereas the Maurie Plant is a
athletics meet,
out and out athletics meet. Yeah,
and I think they get a lot more people through the gates for this one. Like you just can see the stands are full in Maurie Plant Meet.
Yeah, yep. All right, Craig, so let's go. Oh no, Jess, you're going to take us to some sad news to Kenya again.
Yeah, so the legendary Kenyan distance runner Henry Rono has died at the age of 72. Rono famously set 4 world records in 81 days in 1978 in the 3K, 7:32:41, 3,000 metre steeplechase, 8:05:4, 5,000 metres, 13:08.4, and the 10,000 in 27:22:47. Rono never competed at the Olympic Games because of the Kenyan boycott in Montreal 1976 and Moscow in 1980, but he won a 3,000 metre steeplechase, 10,000 metre double at the 1976 All Africa Games, and a 5,300 metre steeplechase double at the Commonwealth Games.
Pretty good.
The greatest ever athlete not to compete in Olympic Games, doesn't it?
Yeah, how's your luck? That's
something out of your control.
Yeah.
Even like this thing like 13:08 back in like 1978, like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 27:22. What's the Australian record? 27:18.
Oh, it's a bit quicker than that, isn't it?
27:10, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's
off the top of my head.
12 maybe? 27? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I'll take you to Hobart for Run the Bridge. So this is the race where the women head off ahead of the men based on the difference in course records. And so obviously, to see who crosses the line first. In the men's, actually, it was a female that crossed the line first. It was Anardis Mebradu. So she finished third at Zatopek. She ran 32:34. Second female was Leanne Pompiani, 33:09, and she was third across the line. Sarah Klein was the third female, running 34:18. In the men's, Robin Hendricks, he got the win, 29:10, and was second across the line. Brett Robinson ran 30:13 for second in the men's, and Logan Janetsky was third in 30:28. See any of this, Brady or Jess?
I did. I watched some of the coverage when I got home from a run, maybe. I forgot it was on. Very little hype for this, building into it. I just re-watched probably the last couple of Ks. Is Brett Robinson in a bit of a slump, you reckon? Looked like he kind of like gave up a bit. Like he should have beaten that guy from Belgium.
Yeah, I didn't see the footage.
Pulled up pretty rough from the half in Maragami. Yeah, I think he's been feeling a bit flat since that race.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I noticed, obviously pulled a lap early in that pacing job, and Murragami probably didn't go the way he wanted to, and then this, and I'm like, you know what, Croaks, I think he just needs to get one on the board, send him down to Albert Park Run, just destroy 2,000 people next Saturday morning. Just really show these people that are scared of fast runners rocking up to Park Run that there's a new boss in town.
It's an interesting event because in previous years, this has generally been pretty stacked, particularly a lot of the MTC athletes, both males and females. But other than Brett, there weren't any of them there. And I know Maurie Plant was on the Thursday, so then backing up for a 10K on the Sunday, it's probably not ideal. But does it just show the importance of this year being an Olympic year that their priorities are purely on the track for those athletes in the short term?
Potentially. Or was prize money cut? Did you look up prize money?
No, the prize money was still there because I ran with Leanne the weekend beforehand, and rather than have male and female prize money, it's the the line order. But I think it's something huge for first place.
I feel it's like $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that. Yeah. A bit of drug news. So we spoke about Mo Katir, was it last week or the week before? But he has now accepted a 2-year ban and will miss the Olympics this year and the World Champs next year, and obviously European Champs in there as well. So that's the big drug news for the week.
Not one person has come out defending this guy. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Sometimes you say, oh, no, this can't be true. There must be, innocent, da-da-da. I haven't seen that once. Not even people aren't even shocked.
I think people were very shocked when he sort of burst onto the scene when they looked at what his previous PBs were. I remember there was talk about that when he first came out, going, wow, this guy was, I don't know, maybe I actually should find it, but he was a good national level runner. And then went bang, and he was, sub 13 minutes for 5K.
Some of his excuses for the whereabouts stuff were pretty lame too, I think. He was trying to say it wasn't updating or something, but then their records show that he didn't even try to log in on the dates it was meant to be. It's all written there in the AIU stuff. That's good. Can we skip listener question, Croaks, and just finish this episode off? Hey, Brady on the loose this week. Did you see the quotes from Jakob during the week about Josh Kerr? About his 2-mile indoor record, not outdoor, indoor record. I'll quote him. I would have beaten him blindfolded. It's good people are getting faster. It means I don't run alone. That's what Jakob said about Josh Kerr's... Yeah, which the indoor record is 6 seconds slower than what Jakob's run. But what are your thoughts on this? Because I hated it when I first saw it, but now I think I love it.
I feel he's just trying to stir the pot.
This is what we need, though, isn't it, Jess? This is what we need with women's marathoning in Australia. Someone's just got to come out. You're all way too nice to each other. This is your opportunity, Jess. Who do you want to have a crack at? Could you run 2:23 blindfolded? Yes or no?
No. Absolutely not. I don't think it's tongue-in-cheek. I think he probably believes what he's saying, but he is just wanting to... create some of these headlines and get a bit of chat happening.
Yeah. Is it disrespectful, Croaks?
No, I don't know. I think there's enough beef between these two guys now that they don't care. And I think for probably both of them, if anything, it probably helps them in a way. I feel like both of these guys can handle the pressure. I think it's the people that can't handle the pressure are probably the ones that wouldn't be saying this sort of stuff, because then the spotlight is on them. Whereas you've seen both Kerr and Jakob, they're often pretty good at backing up what they say. I think it's probably good for both of them in terms of fires them up and gets the most out of themselves. A bit like Ellie, when people write Ellie off, it just helps them.
Tell you what, she's real fired up behind closed doors, I think. She's going to drop a bomb this week, which does take me to the whispers. I'll tell you about a couple of people out for Osaka this week. Unfortunately, Tom Ducano is out of Osaka Marathon, which is really sad because Tom was on the show a couple of weeks ago recapping his week, talking about his goals, talking about the shape he's in and how good his build-up was leading into this. He's got a chest infection. He's had it for a couple of weeks too. So if you notice on Strava, he's done nothing for the last maybe week and a half. So that's sad news. Benny Saint was also meant to be running Osaka Marathon. Touch base with him today. I was trying to get a whisper, like, just tell me how good shape you're in, Benny, and I'll add a bit of mayonnaise to it and tell everyone you're going to break the Australian record kind of thing. But, he did inform me that he's also out of Osaka this Sunday as well.
Is that due to illness or injury? Like,
chest infection as well, I think. He's just, I think it's not as bad as Tommy's, but he was just, like, didn't really want to run it, especially after he ran... remember when he did Sydney? And he finished it off, but he was sick leading up to that as well.
Brutal.
So, I think you'll learn a lot from that. He wanted to be 100% to race a marathon, which leads me into some whispers about predictions this weekend. Who you got? Because people forgetting, Lisa Waitman's racing. It's gone under the radar a bit.
No, it's going to be huge.
Do you reckon she goes like for the Australian record, kind of like a 221, 222, or do you reckon she just tries to move that 223 low a tiny bit quicker to protect herself, maybe jump into Jen's spot? Jen Gregson could be out of the 3 this time Sunday.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think.
It's a really important race. I don't know any background information, but I'd imagine that Lisa would be shooting for a PB. And, I think Ellie as well is capable of running 222, or who knows. She's a really smart racer. She's had a great physical prep, and it's going to be incredible to watch it unfold.
If you had to pick one, Jess, who do you think finishes first out of the 2 Australians?
Well, it's really hard because I don't know Lisa's prep at all, but from what I understand, she was at some point going to go for that Australian record. So if she's shooting for that kind of time and everything goes well on the day, well, she could perhaps go sub 222. But I also think Ellie has, so much there to give, and who knows what's possible. So it's a really interesting race in that there's that head-to-head element, but then there's the opportunity for them both to run faster than the Valencia times, and it just it makes the situation even crazier.
Certainly does.
And then you've got Eloise, and Nagoya.
She's in Nagoya though, isn't she? Because there was some reporting that she was at Osaka as well, but she's not.
Yeah, I think she might have been listed for a moment in the Osaka field, but she's doing Nagoya in March.
Yep. Cokes, what do you think's going to happen?
Oh, I don't know. Like, it's really hard to make predictions. One, because, like, I haven't really seen either training because, like, I don't know, is Lisa on Strava? I don't follow her if she's on Strava, but I'm guessing she doesn't put everything up on Strava, and Ellie's obviously gone off Strava. But what I'm sort of interested in now with Lisa's position, it was like, there was talk about the Aussie record going down, or, she wanted to have a crack at the Aussie record in Valencia and got sick. And, like, the time that she ran, given she was sick, was impressive. But now that she's sort of dropped down a spot, like, can she afford to be really aggressive and go for that Aussie record, but then, fade and, have, like, Ellie beat her, or her run, slower than what she did in Valencia? Like, because then maybe that's when then the selectors start sort of looking at, okay, well, Valencia, you're sick, but then you've not run well in Osaka. So it'll be interesting to see whether, it's still the Aussie record, or whether it's more, as you said, Brady, just doing enough to secure her spot in that top 2. And then there's obviously the head-to-head with Ellie.
I would have thought, if you're looking to secure your spot, you might pick one at the very end of the qualification period, because you might not end up having to run it. Like, if you sort of thought, I might be safe here, but I'll have, London or something, or a quick one, maybe Hamburg, later on in case I need to run that one. There are some risks, I guess. It's an interesting one. Perhaps you start thinking you're going to shoot for a particular time, and then if you're not quite feeling that, you do just more race the race itself.
I hadn't really thought of the head-to-head with Valley thing either, Croaks, for like selectors' discretion. Because I always just thought about it with Izzy, but I thought Lisa obviously got her at World Champs pretty convincingly. That would overwrite the Izzy head-to-head. But if there's times 2 head-to-heads, then it gets fascinating.
What are your predictions, Brady?
Well, hopefully I'm in front of both of them, to be honest. Like I've had hopefully I don't see them at 38k when they both go flying past me. But I'm just looking to Jen Gregson 2:23.08. That's the second time at the moment. Potentially one or two of them's got to be trying to get under. Yeah, I don't know. I think for both of them to run at 2:22.30, 2:23 flight pace, they can do for 32, 35k, and it's going to be a matter of who can hold it for the last 7. And they're both tough. They're both amazing races. And
I don't know if Lisa has paces either, because Ellie's been talking about who she'll be running with, and I think it's really nice to have familiar people around you. It can relax you in a race, and I'm not sure what Lisa's setup is in that regard.
Yeah, if you're Lisa, you just go with that, don't you? It depends. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to know.
Jess, do you have a prediction for Brady and Julian?
What do you got, Jess, in the head-to-head?
Yeah, I don't understand men's marathoning and the training as well as the women's. So hearing your preparations it's really hard to pick it.
Very diplomatic answer there, Jess.
I think you can both go really well, and I think Moose is the more he'd probably be more likely to go conservatively at the beginning, and perhaps if that means that you'll follow suit, it'll really come down to the final 10Ks between you two. I think if Moose wasn't in the race, you'd potentially run the first half a bit harder than you might with him there. So
I don't know where I've got this reputation from, Croaks. I've done it once gone out too hard in a marathon. People just think I'm this trailblazer and kamikaze.
It's more probably I think that Moose goes out a bit safer.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily that you're the kamikaze guy, but that he's a smart racer in the first half.
I'm just looking forward to spending
Brady,
some time with him.
How many marathons have you negative splitted?
None.
Yeah,
Zero.
So there's the reputation.
I've also other than my debut, I've never run slower than 2:21. People think you see some of those results from Seville. Guys are coming in 2:26, 2:25, 2:28. I never had those disaster blow-ups.
No, but potentially if you're more conservative through halfway, you would have run faster than what you've run because you would have run a significant negative split, which
Moose does big time.
Julian's PB and my PB are both pretty big negative splits.
Yeah.
So that's probably where you get the reputation compared to...
Yeah, because I'm compared to you two. Fucking just nail it perfectly, guys. So anyway.
No, I think you're both going to have a really good day, though.
It'll be fun. Weather looks cold, Croaks.
Was it?
8 degrees, yeah.
Is it windy?
It doesn't say yet, I don't think. I think it might.
Because it was a bit too cold for Moose last year, wasn't it? He said he had to hang around at the start line and...
Yeah, he was in a different program last year as well. We
don't talk about last year. Moose in Osaka.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him for some details about the second half of the course, then I remembered he didn't finish the race. Anyway, that'll be good. What's coming up, Croaks? New South Wales Milers Meet.
Oh, yeah. This I didn't know this was happening until I saw a post yesterday on Facebook. But listen to this. Jake Whiteman, Cam Myers, Jai Edwards, Matt Ramsden, I think Callum Davies is having a run. The guy that's over here with Jake from the UK. So that's at Bankstown on Thursday night. So that's going to be an awesome race, 1,500 metres. Not sure if there's a live stream.
Surely they put that on. Someone's got to get out there, have a phone, Instagram live it or something with a field like that.
Yeah, it'd be good. Be good to watch. So if you're in Sydney, get out to the Crest at Bankstown Thursday night.
Matt Whitbread be all over that. Jess, what are you doing between now and next time we talk to you? Training? Anything special coming up in your life?
No, it really is just about getting the training done. I've got a Lululemon event coming up in Sydney on Wednesday, so fly out for that tomorrow, which I'm excited about. But other than that, not too many plans.
What's the event?
Jess,
is it shoes?
I can't say.
You can't even tell. Oh, I guess we're on a podcast, but I'm like, you can't even tell the other Lululemon guy.
I clearly have not been invited to this event, Bradley.
You know where you sit in the pecking order.
No, I'll be in Japan. I'll be in Japan. They know I'm in Japan, so it's like don't go inviting him.
Jess, between now and your marathon, do you have any races or like to sort of just check where your fitness is at, or is it all just going to be training between now and then?
No, we spoke about that when I came on last year, and I had to think about it. I think, Brady, you mentioned run for the kids, and I weighed up the pros and cons, and I think it's just going to be better to really focus on training and not worry about trying to freshen up for a race or have to recover from a race and take that pressure off. I'm pretty comfortable that I can push myself really hard in training if it's a focused session, and I've got some, people to hit a bit of a time trial with. At this stage, I haven't sort of seen any time trial style sessions in my program, but Adam's riding it really week to week at the moment. So I won't be racing, which will make April 7th, I think, even more exciting, being the first race in, a year and a bit.
Exciting times. Split streams for trackers for Osaka. No idea. We're getting heaps of messages about that already, how to watch and stuff. Zach will be in charge of our Instagram account, though, on Sunday morning. You and him, Croaks, might be able to do some Instagram work to let the people know what's happening during the race.
What time's your race start?
I think it's 9:30 or 9 a.m, which would be like 11 a.m. Melbourne time.
Perfect. People come off their long run,
East Coast,
straight into Osaka.
Get yourself a Big M, maybe a Calippo or something. Sit down and watch a stream when you can't understand any words. That's really good.
Best.
Good luck, Brady.
Thank you so much for filling in. Really appreciate that. Good work, Croaks. We got there. Road to Osaka tomorrow for Patreon, and then Friday, Saturday for everyone else. Thanks, guys. That was fun.
See ya. Good luck, Brady.
Thank
2:17,
you, Bradley.
mate. Go get it.
Yeah,
Go get
2:19:30, Croaks. 2:19:30 we'll take. See you later.
Bye.
Special thanks to On for sponsoring this episode of the Inside Running podcast. The new Cloudrunner 2 for no bad runs ever. With more support, more comfort and more cushioning for more fun on every run. For professional athletes and new runners alike, our Heelin Superphone is a game changer. The upgraded midsole provides softer cushioning and higher energy return, plus Cloud Tech cushioning to absorb impact, so you can keep racking up the miles with confidence. Visit on.com or your specialty running retail store to grab your pair today.
So